Hi everyone, welcome once again to yet another Edelweiss Connect classroom session. Before we start, I genuinely want to thank you all for your patronage and loyalty and supporting us in this endeavor. Today, the topic that we have chosen to present to you and discuss is called How to Win the SIP Match, uh, wherein match actually stands for 5 different sports. It is sporting season, right? So where M is for marathon, A is for athletics, T is for a test match, C is for chess, and H is for hockey. I'm sure most of us as investors, SIP or systematic investment plans has perhaps become the most preferable way of investing. And rightly so. I mean, why not, right? Because investing in mutual funds via the SIP route is very, very easy on the pocket. It's very easy to set up. All that you need to do is you need to get an auto debit, mandate facilities, get ready. And it also instills a certain level of discipline amongst all of us as investors. However, what has also been observed is a lot of us, although start our SIP journey with a lot of enthusiasm, we do not unfortunately realize the full potential of our SIP investments. And especially, when we face volatile times, a lot of us as investors either stop or pause our SIPs. Sometimes some of us even redeem before, we let that real compounding impact of SIPs, which I will talk about a little later also. But before before the real impact of compounding actually kicks in and starts really showing a material difference in my investments, a lot of us perhaps redeem before that, and then that somewhere hampers our journey towards the wealth creation that we had perhaps initially envisaged. So all of these actually cause an impediment in my investment journey. And like I said, it is sports season, right? I mean, right now there is the Asian Games going on, and hence we thought of combining sports and investments via SIPs to enhance our conviction and help us to stay on the path of investing via this SIP route. Right. Like I said, I'm going to connect our SIP journey with these 5 different sports, and for all of these sports, there are certain skill sets and a certain level of discipline which I need to develop within myself, just like in investments. Sports, just like investments, requires us to be disciplined, focused, consistent. We need to think about a strategy in order to get it right. And to top it all, we need to keep an eye on our goal. Hence, in today's presentation, I am going to use this analogy of sports and connect that with SIP investing for us all to enhance our own levels of conviction and discipline and stay invested, and continue investing across periods, which then, eventually should help us in realizing the true potential of our investments and give our investments perhaps the best probable possible chance to create that wealth which we had initially, envisaged or thought of. On that note, let us begin our session. As usual, if you have any queries or questions, please put it in the chat box. And I will respond to each one of them towards the end of our session. Let's begin. Now, let's start first where consider SIP investments like running a marathon. a half marathon. A half marathon is 21 kilometers, right? We've all perhaps read or heard about this term called power of compounding. And if you ask any financial professional, he would tell you that power of compounding is perhaps the eighth wonder of the world. It's that powerful, it's that beautiful, and it's that satisfying. But you know, and it is a very, very strong and important feature of investing. But if we really want to enjoy the benefits of compounding, then we have to really look at a really long term. Like in a half marathon, you're running 21 kilometers. To run 21 kilometers, you have to be very persistent. You have to show up for practice every day. It's not as if, you get up one fine day and decide that you're going to run 21 kilometers and you're going to do it. It requires you to be persistent, show up for practice on an everyday basis, slowly increase capacity, and then, be consistent with that 21 kilometers in order to run that marathon on that race day. Similarly, when I'm investing also, it's very, very important that I remain persistent with my investment. Look at this example that we have over here. Over here, we've shown an example of we investing 10,000 rupees in a Nifty 50 basket for a period of from 31st Jan 2002 to 31st December 2022. That's a period of 21 years. Now look at this, and it's really beautiful. I mean, for the first 7 years, your investment is 8,40,000 rupees, on which you're gaining about 5,24,000 odd rupees, creating a total market value of 13,64,000 rupees. Now that looks good, right? Now the next 7 years after the first year, so that's when you touch 14 years, your total investment doubles from 840, so it becomes 1680. And you now see a gain of 35,21,000 odd rupees, and your total market value stands at close to about 52 lakh odd rupees. Now this is something which is amazing, right? 16 lakhs turning into 52 lakhs. I mean, it's something which you feel, wow. I mean, this is something which is just fantastic, and I didn't think it will turn that much. But the real magic of this is in the last 7 years. When I continue in the last 7 years, my total investment now becomes 25 lakhs 20,000 odd rupees, and I'm seeing a gain of 1 crore 18 lakhs. Now this gain, when I look at from the previous gain, is almost at a 3.5 times. So in just about 7 years, from 35 lakhs, I've gone to go close to about 118, 120 odd, right? And now my corpus starts looking at about 1 crore and 43 lakhs. Now this is the real compounding impact, but this kicks in only when I stay invested, when I continue with my investment over a long term. Now, this is this example where we're taking 21 years, and look at the pie chart next also. 70% of your gains in this total corpus has been achieved only in the last 7 years. And this is where, if I really want to see this compounding impact in my own portfolio, all that I need to do is I need to be persistent with my investment and stay invested for the long term. Think 21 years, and see this really work its magic, as the compounding magic is called, because that's when you'll see this really, really work wonders. So think of your investment as a marathon. It's a long-term journey that you are embarking upon. That's the first thing. Second is, consider SIPs like athletics. Now, anyone who's seeing athletics, we see that in athletics it's all about running, jumping, throwing, and all of these sports test your endurance. It is painful. The preparation to have that burst in the end, or to show up on match on that day of competition and do your best. The preparation requires a very, very high level of endurance. It is tough, it's painful, and there are periods in investing also which are the same. It is tough, it is painful. The volatile market times, when I see markets turn volatile, it really hurts, when you're seeing your portfolio and sometimes you see negative returns in your portfolios. It makes us all think, am I getting this right? Am I doing this right? Have I ever done a mistake? And in those times, I sometimes, either pause, my investing, or, discontinue thinking that, no, this is not working. And two examples which we have shown over here is, one is during the now famous 2008 crisis, the big financial crisis that some of us may have seen. And then obviously, the period of COVID, when we saw, markets being really volatile on the negative side. And in these periods, so in the first one, so for example, if someone had started an SIP in August of 2007, uh, and on 31st of July, he stopped again, in about a year's time, invested about 1,20,000 rupees, market value was about 1,04,000, technically a loss about 26 odd percent in his portfolio, panicked and stopped. But somebody else continued for a period, up to August of 2010, so continued for about 3 odd years. The investment was 3,70,000 rupees, and the portfolio value was 467. So there was a gain of 16%. It is about endurance. It is about, see, I mean, tough times will come and go, they don't last. It is tough investors who do. You have to endure this pain. It is no choice. I mean, we don't know when will the markets be volatile, when will the markets, giving us, continue to give us gain. Our job is to stay invested and continue with our investments. These periods will come, they are not in our control. We need to endure that pain. And second example too, I mean, somebody started an SIP on 31st December 2018, and stopped on 30th April 2020, thinking that the markets are really choppy. Invested about 1,70,000 rupees, saw a market value about 1,51,000 rupees, had a negative returns about 16 odd percent. Somebody continued through up to March of 2023, invested every month. I mean, even if you're looking at 10,000 rupees getting invested, continued invested for a total of 5,20,000 rupees, portfolio value about 6,86,000 rupees, had a gain of 13 odd percent. So these periods, of pain, of volatility will always be there. It is something which is not in our control. What is in our control is that we continue staying invested. We do not discontinue our SIPs looking at these volatile times, because the volatile times will turn, and the good, the better times will come back sooner than later. And if I continue with my investments and I endure this pain during the painful period, I will get rewarded. So consider SIPs like an athletic. Endure the pain to ensure that you get your reward. There's a second one. Consider SIPs like you're playing a game of test cricket. Now, I'm sure a lot of us are cricket fans, and there are various formats, but for a lot of cricket fans, test cricket is that true test of skills, true test of wherein you are really tested for your skill sets. And you have to be patient in test cricket. You have to keep doing the same thing every day. So if you're a batsman, you need to be patient, and you need to ensure that you stay on the wicket for as long as possible and not get out. Similarly, if you're a bowler, you will continue bowling to keep waiting. You'll continue bowling on your line and length, and keep waiting for the batsman to make that one mistake which will get you the wicket. Investing is also about consistency and patience. SIP investing is also about consistency and patience. Look at this. I mean, over here we've used a period of about 20 odd years. So from 31st December 2003 to about 30th August 2023. I mean, when you look at this data, during this period, there have been various periods of volatility, of negativity, which may have come. And what we've done is, we've taken a period over here where we are taking a rolling return over a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year rolling. Right. And what we are seeing is, if for a 10-year ruling, so when you stayed invested for at least a 10-year period and beyond, during this period, you've never got a negative return. Your minimum returns are 2.48, but you never got a negative return. So clearly, I mean, if I am patient and I'm consistent with my investments in my SIP journey, I will have periods of pain, but I will get returns which are befitting and rewarding to me. So think of SIPs as long term. Think of it as a test match, not as a T20 or one day, but think of it as a test match. You're in this for the long run. You're in this for the long haul. You're going to be there, for the entire test period. So similarly, you're going to ensure that you're there for the long period, and you will see that staying consistent does pay you the dividends and returns on your portfolio. So think of SIPs as a test match. Think of SIP investments like a game of chess. In chess, every move counts. The idea is, you strategize and you play, in chess, in such a way that you are every move that you make is moving somewhere to help you checkmate the other person, right? Similarly, in SIPs also, every investment counts. Now, there's one more strong feature which perhaps you would have all heard of, and it's called as rupee cost averaging. What that means is, when the markets are down, when I'm continuing with my SIPs, and my SIP is of the same amount on a monthly basis, right? And when the markets are down, if I were to just relate it with mutual fund schemes, then the NAV price in all probabilities would also be a little down. And if it's down, what would that do is it would give me more units, right? And these more units, when the markets are down, is what I collect. And when the markets turn positive again, all of these units get me capital gain. So my turnaround is faster. And that is where, not pausing or stopping my SIPs during these choppy periods really work. Now look at this. Over here, we've again looked at a period when investors skipped SIP over a period of, when markets are falling. It's a period looked at is about 3 years, from 2007 to 2010. Again, investing into Nifty 50 TRI. So 31st December 2007 to 30th November 2010 to be more precise. And in these 3-year periods, one investor skipped 15 installments, so invested just about 210,000 rupees. Market value still moved to about 268,900, so had something positive. But somebody who didn't stop, so invested 3,60,000 rupees, so a market value of 4,90,000 with an absolute gain of about 36%. So every installment counts. Markets are going negative. In these negative times, it's best for me to pause. Every investment counts. Stay invested, continue putting in your installments, don't pause your SIPs. And if you don't do that, you will see that your capital gains, over the period when markets turn, your turnaround story is much faster. And that's when, you will really enjoy your investing, and you'll really feel happy with your returns. So continue putting in your installments even in choppy and volatile markets. Look at SIPs as a game of hockey. Now, hockey is our national sport, and when you're playing hockey, the entire idea is that I need to score a goal. because the team which scores more goals wins. Similarly, when I'm investing, like I've spoken in some of my previous sessions, you need to think of a financial goal, right? When is it, or what is the value that you need, and when is it that you need? It's very, very important, because if you don't have a goal, you will still have money, you will still realize money, but you don't know how much you need. So it's like, you're playing a game of hockey, but there's no goal post. So you're just playing, you may enjoy it for some time, but after some time you start getting bored because you don't know whether you're winning or losing. Similarly, when I'm investing, the idea should be that I think of a goal, and when I'm closer to the goal, I don't know whether the markets will continue in the way that they have done, or will they get a little more volatile. So it's best to move to the more safer fixed income investments or the debt funds. Look at this over here as an example that we've done. Somebody started investing on 1st Jan 2007, and we've considered a period up to 31st December 2008. Now this market, and what this did is, 2 years before realization, so somewhere, early 2007, Jan 2007, this person, you moved from equity, you moved a lot of your investments from equity to fixed income or the debt funds. And because you did that, even when the markets turned volatile after that, they went up for a certain period and then they went down. And this volatility did not impact your returns. So when you're reaching close to your goals, you don't know, you've created about 90 odd percent of the corpus that you needed. You don't know whether this run will continue, or will there be a period of uncertainty or volatility which may have a certain impact in your investments. In order to control and protect your investments from that excess volatility, it is best advised that you move from equity to the safer fixed income side during these periods, and keep your focus only on the goal, because the idea is that, if you keep on focusing on the goal, you will realize the money that the money that you wanted to create. And that's what matters to you, because that is the goal that you had initially thought of, that is the goal that you were targeting. And to reach that goal, you need to play this smart. As you're getting closer, shift from the probable volatile assets to the non-volatile investments, or the fixed income side, in order to ensure that even if there is any level of volatility which comes, it does not impact your goal. So think of it like a game of hockey. Like I said, rupee cost averaging is a very, very strong concept, and we should never forget this. And we should always remember this: your recovery is much faster. If you continue with your SIPs, you recover faster in the markets. Look at this. We've used two periods over here. One is an SIP invested in Jan 2005. Markets in 2008 were became volatile. Nifty by itself recovered in a period of about 34 months, but somebody who had stayed invested in the SIP mode recovered much quicker in 18 months, almost half of the period. Similarly, if you look at closer period a bit of about 2020, when the market crashed again, somebody who started in 2020 in Jan of 2018, recovered in 6 months, where Nifty recovered in 12 months. So clearly, staying invested, letting markets do what they are doing, but you maintaining that discipline, maintaining that rigor, maintaining the persistence level pays. And that is what we as investors, that's the job that we as investors need to do. Markets are not in our control. They will do whatever they want to do. But you and I, if we want to create the money that we thought of, whatever our goals are, and if we've strategized and invested in schemes, the idea has to be that I remain consistent in my investments, I remain persistent, I endure the period of pain, in order to ensure that I reach my goal. To sum this, like I said, we should use the SIP route to fulfill our goals. Never forget the power of compounding. Like I said, it kicks in over the really long term period. And hence, if I want to really enjoy this compounding or see this magic of compounding, I should stay invested for a long term. The example that we shared was the marathon example, where in the last 7 years we saw the kind of returns that it could create. So compounding kicks in the latter stage of your investment. Just stay invested for the long term to see the magic of compounding. Never forget rupee cost averaging. There will be volatile times in the markets. Markets will be volatile. That's the basic gene of the market. Our job is to remain consistent, persistent, and patient and continue with our investment journey. During these volatile times, our recovery will be much faster. The additional units that we got during the volatile or the bear periods in the markets will generate returns for us and get us out of the negativity much quicker. So rupee cost averaging is the second thing which we should not forget. And be consistent. If I wish to reach my goals, I need to be consistent. A one-off effort will not work. Changing of strategies, changing of ideas will not work. Consistency pays. And if I am consistent over the long period, I've thought about what schemes I want to invest in, and basis that made my investments. This consistency will pay over the long term. So all that we need to do is think about what scheme you want to invest in. If you don't know, get in touch with somebody, your mutual fund distributing partner or advisor. Through them, select your schemes, start your SIPs, and let your money work for you. This is what I had for all of us. I'd be more than happy to take your queries and questions and respond to each one of them. So there's a question, should I stay invested when India is expensive now? I mean, I don't know what's expensive and what's cheap, sir, madam, whoever's asked this question. The idea is I am not investing for today. I'm investing for my future over the long term. If you believe in the India growth story, if you believe that India is going to continue growing, India's GDP rate is going to continue rising, and India is going to become, the next, financial giant of this world, then I don't see any reason for us to believe that India is expensive or cheap. I mean, I need to think about what's going to come, and basis that make my investment choices. Anyone else with any other questions, queries? So the question on rebalancing your SIP portfolio, rebalancing is a very, very important tool. Like I even showed in one of my slides. When you're closer to your goal, it becomes very, very important to ensure that volatility does not impact your investments. And during those times, you may want to make the switch from equity to fixed income because a major part of your corpus has been created. And if you want to know more about rebalancing, we have done a session on rebalancing your investments, which is available on our YouTube channel. You could also have a look at that in order to have a better understanding of how and when should you rebalance. So there is a question which says that I have invested some money and I think the markets will go up. If the markets fall, I will invest more. If you're keeping tracks of the market, you have you have an idea about, or you have an idea on the economy in terms of your reading or whatever you want to play this strategy. It's perfectly fine, but this is a strategy which is good for people who continue tracking markets regularly and have the time and the tools to do the same. Again, but how much will it fall? Is it the bottom? What's going to be the bottom? How volatile is going to be the period is a question which a lot of smart investors also have failed to respond to. So what I mean, it's not a bad strategy if you want to do it that way, but I think, staying consistent over the long term actually works for most of us. So putting an SIP strategy and staying true to their SIP strategy is a much easier to deploy strategy for most of us. Okay. So there's a question. Can we start SIPs in mid and small cap now? Yes, why not? I mean, we are not investing in any scheme for the current period. The idea of any investments should be, I mean, when you're looking at SIP, should be about 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 odd years, right? I mean, it's a long-term thing. And I don't see any reason why over the long term, these asset classes may not, deliver the returns positively for you. Of course, I can't commit on what's going to be the return, quantum, but why can you not invest is something which I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. So there's a question, over the long term, should one book profit over in any category of schemes, personally, I think staying invested pays better dividends, unless there is a clear cut thought that you don't think this asset class is going to deliver your expectation. I think, and again, this is more correct for those investors who are clued into the markets, keep on reading, having information on the markets, and take a more active call, looking at current market situations to deploy a strategy. For most of us, staying invested for the long term by itself can pay rich dividends. So there is no need to tweak once you've decided on a strategy. So just being consistent and continuing will also work. Okay, I guess that's all the questions that you had. I genuinely thank you for all your questions and being a part of our program. And we will connect again in the coming month with another one with all of you. Till then, thank you very much. Goodbye. See you. Bye-bye.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.